To begin a new sketch in Shapr3D, let's tap on the Sketch tool. And right at the top I have the Pen tool, which can be very useful to draw lines, arcs, circles, as we'll see. And essentially this is just the same as how we would draw on a normal piece of paper. Below this we have a number of additional tools to draw rectangles, circles, ellipses, polygons, and so on, and we'll take a look at that later on. But for now, let's start with just the Pen tool. So, to draw anything using my Pen tool, I would just draw as I would on a regular piece of paper, and I can see a line coming in here. Now notice I can, down in the bottom left hand corner, I'll just hit undo to undo that line I've drawn. And just the same, if I hit the back, and I'm now back to where I started, I don't necessarily have to go into Sketch and Pen every single time. If I just start drawing, it's essentially done the exact same thing here. So it's just automatically thrown me into the Pen tool. And again, now I can see that on my left-hand side, I'm within that Pen command. Now we can notice here that I've actually drawn in a 3D view here, but more specifically, I've drawn on the top face. So I do actually have the ability to draw and sketch in a 3D view. But most likely, especially when we're first getting started, it might be beneficial to draw in more of a 2D view or an ortho view. So again, I'll just undo to undo this drawn line here. And I'm going to use my view or orientation cube up in the top right-hand corner. And I can jump to a more specific 2D or ortho view. So for example, the top view. And now I'm drawing specifically on that top view. Another way I can just do the same is if I just do a quick double tap on that view cube. I'm now back into a 3D view, as we can see. And if I just did a double tap on the top view itself, that's jumped me into a top view as well. So you have a number of options there. So this is generally a more useful approach to draw an ortho or on a 2D view when you're actually doing your sketches. And you can think of this just as you would when drawing on a piece of paper. Most likely you have that piece of paper down on a flat table and you're drawing down on that table. You're not holding your piece of paper on some strange three-dimensional angle. Now that we're looking straight down at our top view here, the drawing tools are very simple. So again, I can just draw a line, and I should see a line coming in. I could just tap to select that line if I'd like. And in this case, I could undo, or I could tap the delete to delete that line. In a very similar way, if you'd like to draw a circle, you could just begin to sketch a circle. And we see a circle coming in. If you go all the way out to close out the circle, it should come in something like this. And we're seeing this light blue coloring, showing me that this is in fact a closed shape or closed sketch. And this will be more useful to us when we actually want to create some 3D objects. We'll see that we in fact may need these closed sketches. And we'll get to that later on as well. Again, I'll just delete this circle. And just the same as a circle, if I'd like to draw an arc, I can just start drawing a circle just the same, and simply just don't close it out. So I could draw half a circle or 3/4 of a circle or so on. And now I have an arc. Again, I'll undo. And in many cases, you may start with a line, then need to jump to an arc, jump back to a line, and so forth. And you have the ability to do that as well. So if I start by maybe drawing a line here, but maybe halfway through I change my mind and decide I needed an arc, if I just shake my pencil a little bit, we can see that now this line has changed into an arc. Again, if I'd like to change back to a line, I could shake my pencil once more, and now I'm back to drawing a line. Again, I can tap to select this line and hit delete. Let's jump back to a 3D view. And notice here where I'm drawing or sketching is shown with a nice grid here. So currently my grid is on the top view, it looks. And if I were to let's draw a circle here, I can see that I've actually just drawn that on the top view there. But I do have the ability to change the orientation of my grid. So again, in that top right-hand corner, if I just tap my view orientation cube there, I have a bunch of different views I can jump to, like I saw, jumping to a top view, front view, and so on. But I also down below have the ability to place grid on. So currently my grid is on the XY plane, which represents the top plane. So that's where I'm currently sketching. If I were to change that to, say, the YZ plane, we can now see that, again, the grid is on the bottom of my screen currently, but the bottom is now a right view, let's say. So, again, I can sketch a circle here, and we can see now that this circle is on the right view instead of the top view. Similarly, I can change my grid once more. I'll change it to be on the now ZX plane. And now the grid is on my front view. Draw a circle once more. And now I see I've drawn a circle on my top plane originally, then my right plane, and now a front plane as well. Again, I can just hit undo, or I can tap to select each of these and delete all three at once. Now let's try to put all of this information together and draw a fully closed out sketch. So I'll jump back to an XY plane. That's the default, and that's generally where I keep my planes for the most part. And then I'm going to jump specifically onto my top view, so I'm staring straight down at that view or piece of paper. So now if we put all this information together, I'll just create a finished or closed out sketch. So maybe I'll draw a line something like this, and maybe another line. So this is really just like hand sketching, again, how you would sketch on a piece of paper here. Maybe another line here, and something like this. And then maybe I want to add an arc as well. So I'll just shake my pencil, add an arc, connect the points, and now we can see a fairly simple sketch throwing all these tools together, and I can see again that this is coming in that light blue color because it's a closed out sketch or closed out shape that eventually I might be able to turn into a 3D design. So now that we've learned the very basics of sketching in Shapr3D, in the next lesson we're going to take a quick look at creating splines. And then we're going to come back to this closed out sketch and learn how we can make changes and edits and fully finish off this sketch with perhaps dimensions and constraints.